This is a Headgum podcast.
Should you go looking for a testament to youth in verse? Variations on the age-old curse. You blame the stations when they play you like a fool. And like a fool you get played with. Baby, think twice. Maybe it's not all. Maybe it's not all right. Maybe it's not all. Maybe it's not all right. Finally, a decent picture of the Exodus. I don't know how much other signers know less. And can we control ourselves for once? Keep our hands off each other and keep our minds on the sum. Keep our hands off each other and keep our minds on the sum of each other.
Oh my God.
That, my classmates, is testament to youth in verse by the new pornographers. Wow.
Incredible.
The year's 2003. Now, as I've been doing with our recordings this week, I am keeping with top food trends because I think it's fun and I think it's funny. And honestly, this is about me. So, top food trends of 2003. Again, according to Google, we're not clicking on any of these links. I'm just reading you kind of what the smattering of the internet has to offer. Number one, the first thing that pops up, Google is screaming at me that 2003 was the year of Atkins and low-carb diets. Okay? I didn't make the rules. It's just what I'm being told. American cuisine, according to New Hope Network, I don't know what that is. American cuisine still leads on the list of top food and cooking styles that consumers enjoy. But surveys show that Chinese, Italian, and Tex-Mex are also the other top 3 foods of 2003. Lastly, I will say, hold on. According to this other survey on ift.org, they do say that Asian categoried foods, 27.7% top sales in the year 2003. Interesting. Okay? Very interesting. And one more factoid to end it. U.S. sales of French fries dropped 10% from 2001 and 2002, but then repopped in 2003. Thank God, because French fries are my favorite food. And where were we when the French fry was gaining popularity once more, taking the throne back to number one as the fry rightfully should be? We were in South Jordan, Utah, and we are Bridger Winegar.
Oh, here
Bridger.
we are. Atkins.
That
is the one accurate thing. I can't believe they really nailed that.
You know, that had a death grip on us as a culture.
It was everywhere.
That, and I know I talk about it all the time in this podcast, South Beach diet.
What is the difference between these two diets?
Okay, so Atkins, I believe, and don't at me if I'm wrong, but I think Atkins is, now it's just been rebranded as the caveman diet.
Oh, right.
Where I think Atkins is literally, you are just eating meat. You're not eating any kind of carbs, including carbs that you could consume from fruit.
Right.
So it's no bread, no grains, no fruit, just meat and fat. I don't even think you're having vegetables. I think it was it was very much so people getting plates of bacon and being it's fine, I'm on Atkins, you know?
That is just a meal to have a stroke.
Yeah, super high cholesterol.
I feel and cheese kind of fell into it, right?
Yeah, I think you could have cheese too.
Right.
And the difference is South Beach was kind of felt like eating disorder adjacent meals that I would make for myself in high school, where it would be I'm going to have raw spinach with steamed chicken breast, that, dark.
Just joyless.
Yes.
Whereas Atkins at least felt like you were indulging in something.
Right, you're having a fucking steak.
Right. And I remember a friend's parent was like allowed to have one grapefruit a week or something.
Sure.
There was like some
Probably,
element.
I bet you like citrus
that's your
was
little
like,
treat
yeah.
for the Atkins diet.
How depressing. Here's your little treat, half a grapefruit. Grapefruit is like fine.
Oh,
but
well, okay. Difference of opinion.
do you love it?
I love a grape. I mean, when was the last time I had one? God only knows.
Okay, so there you go.
But
Do
I
you
love
really
a
love
grapefruit.
it?
Oh, and you're having a tangerine LaCroix.
I'm having a tangerine LaCroix, which I think is poison. I think, didn't they find out that this
isn't poison. I think we're 10 years away from learning it's poison.
Okay, great.
So
and
you're okay
you know
for
what? In 10 years, we'll look back on this episode and we say, I told you so. When I was little, I used to love eating grapefruit, but I would sprinkle sugar on top.
Oh, I haven't had that in a long time.
So
That's
good.
delicious.
Yeah.
But I'll eat a grapefruit.
Sure.
But the problem is you need the little fork.
I'm not going to twist your arm, honey. You need a little serrated
I feel like my arm has
spoon.
been twisted already.
That's serrated spoon.
It's a spoon and a knife.
Yep.
It's
all
gorgeous.
in one. It's a grapefruit spoon.
If you own those, you really know you've settled into your home. You live in that home. You're not moving.
You're not moving.
You've committed to having a grapefruit spoon.
Roots are a grapefruit spoon.
Absolutely. Now
That's
you're
an
ready
indicator.
to start a family.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have grapefruit spoons in your home?
We did. We must have, right? Because where else would I have used one?
It had to have been at your home.
Yeah.
Almost too intimate of a utensil to use at another person's home.
It would be like using someone's toothbrush.
Exactly.
I don't think if I was presented with someone's grapefruit spoon, I'd feel like
No.
I would have to say no.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to eat?
Yeah.
I'll take an orange.
Yeah.
Tangerine.
I'm not going to use this spoon.
It's been so close to the inner part of their teeth.
Yeah, you're not like, unless you are fucking me raw, I'm not using.
And even then,
yeah,
you also should be committing to me.
Yeah.
I need a ring on my finger.
Yeah, I need
Yes.
us to be in a committed legal
thank you.
relationship.
Thank you. We have to be able to adopt children and then have a huge legal problem if we split up.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to get litigious.
The most litigious.
Yes.
Otherwise, forget it. I'm not eating grapefruit with you.
Honey, we don't make the rules with grapefruit spoons.
Those are age-old laws.
Yeah. Okay. High school in South Jordan. It's gotta say up top, Mormon.
Oh my God.
Were you? Are you?
So Mormon.
Are you? Were you?
I was. And the high school it was probably 80 to 90% Mormons.
Wow, but it wasn't religious.
No, but there were. I mean, you can't have a high school that saturated with Mormons without it becoming. There were like elements where teachers would like talk about things that were Mormon adjacent. We took like a class that was like in the parking lot of the school called seminary that you would like have an hour off each day to go and learn about the church.
Wow.
Which is odd.
Did you feel so? Were you like a practicing Mormon?
Yeah. I mean, my family was practicing. And so as like a kid or teenager, it was just like you do what the family does.
Right.
And you also do what literally everyone else in high school does.
Yeah.
It's like there was really no alternative.
Right.
I didn't feel like.
It was just the culture.
Right. So I was like don't even know if I would say reluctant, but I was just like, I was there because I was already on the ride.
Right. Interesting.
Very odd. Yeah, it was a really weird time. And the entire public education for me was like, teachers would talk about the church or God or whatever, and just assume everyone was a Mormon.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, you're already on the ride. You don't know
Right.
any different.
Right.
Were you allowed, okay, you're listening to the new pornographers.
I'm listening to the new pornographers.
So it's like something's going right, you know?
The internet.
Yeah.
I mean, the internet was the one little like peek into like other people existed.
Right.
That weren't doing this thing.
Into secular.
Right.
The secular world.
And you were seeing people's lives who weren't in shambles, but were also not Mormon. Like, because you were told, basically, if you're not Mormon, your life is going to fall apart.
Right.
And you saw that happen all the time, because in Utah, if you leave the church, you kind of don't have a community anymore.
Right. Well, naturally, your life falls apart when you get shunned and like exiled.
Absolutely catapulted from society.
Right. And like, of course, then you're kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? And I
Right.
also think in all of these religions, certain specific communities that also don't allow potential self-expression, don't allow you to drink coffee or
Thank you
alcohol.
there we go.
You know, of course your brain would break when you can finally do that for the first time.
Yeah, and for me, I was terrified of that happening. So, like, my exit from it was so unbelievably slow. Like, really, because the people that I did know that left the church ended up on, like, hard drugs or, like, their lives were ruined.
Right.
So for me, I was like, I'm going to take it as easy as possible. And the church, even years after I had left it, had, like, held a real sway on me. I didn't come out until I was 30.
Wow.
And I had been done with the church for 10 years.
Wow.
So it was in high school, it controlled my life for sure.
So what was that like? Is this our first Mormon teen? I think
Have you had Mormon adults?
No. No. I did on a past podcast, I did speak to a friend of mine who grew up Mormon.
Oh.
But grew up Mormon here in Pasadena.
Oh, I mean, Pasadena is a very Mormon-like community.
Yeah.
Kind of clean and safe and dull.
Yeah, but also a gay man who grew up very Mormon, but like didn't seem to have as much trauma from it, because I think that when we're dealing with, and also my babysitter, who is basically like my mom growing up, left her Mormon LDS family in Idaho.
Oh, yeah. Idaho is Utah Junior.
Yeah, and that was a whole crazy thing.
Right.
But I do think that like being in Utah, it's like being in like the fucking belly of the beast.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, your friend in Pasadena, like, most of their friends were not Mormons.
Right.
So
like, hanging out with like fucking girls who are like sucking dick and like smoking fucking cigarettes and like, you know, listening to Britney Spears or whatever.
Well, I mean, come on. Mormons listen to Britney Spears. I'm gonna stand up for Mormons right now.
You're like, hold on, Mormons smoke cigarettes.
We were doing meth all the time. People have the wrong idea about Mormons. What point am I trying to make here? That we listen to Britney Spears?
But did you feel, okay, so hold on. You're in high school. Your high school is 80 to 90% Mormon.
Yes.
What are the vibes? How big is it? What were you like in high school?
It was
what
a
was
massive
going on?
high school because Mormons have a ton of kids.
Oh, that's right.
Like 4 is the standard amount of children you have.
How many are you from?
4.
Okay.
3 feels small. I don't think I knew anyone who had like just 2 siblings. And then it goes up from there. I knew a girl who had like 14 siblings.
Oh my God.
It's wild. So the high school, I think, was probably close to 3,000 kids.
Shit.
And it was, but like high school, it still like broke down into like regular high school
like
type.
cliques.
Yeah, there were like jocks. There were, like goth kids. There were skater kids. There were like cowboys, which was interesting.
I love that.
Yeah, which I believe like the clique was kind of known as the Hicks, which feels rough.
Yeah, hard, They're like, no, we're cowboys. We are ranchers. We wrangle cattle, but sure. Like, we have jobs after this.
Right, we have actual applicable skills to the real world. We've been, harvesting crops, that sort of thing. But yeah, it kind of broke down in that way. And there were like the bad kids, and there were like...
Ooh, what were the bad kids?
But the bad kids, compared to the rest of the country, were like, may have seen marijuana in high school.
May have like looked at it from afar.
Smelled it from like 100 feet away.
Yeah.
But that was like as bad as kids got, really.
Interesting.
I mean, I didn't see I didn't see drugs in high school. I didn't there was no peer pressure, even like with alcohol or anything.
Were you around alcohol in high school?
No, I don't have a single memory of seeing teenagers drink alcohol.
Which is crazy because I was blacking out when I was I was like 16.
In my high school, you would have been like the worst child.
Sure. I mean, everyone probably would have stayed away from me because they thought I was going to hell.
Right. Greta has a problem.
Am I going to hell? We don't know. I guess like time will tell. I do
Well.
love the warmth, you know. God, that's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So was it very athletic? Was it?
Yeah, I mean, their football was a huge part of the culture.
Yeah.
Basketball was a big thing. Baseball.
Mm,
Those were the three big sports, and that's what the school poured its money into.
right.
That's where any resource went. Obviously, I didn't fall into any of those categories.
I was going to say, what did you play a sport?
I didn't. I played basketball from 6th to 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Simply the worst player on the team every time.
And you know what? I'm happy. Because if you told me that you were the best, I would be like, you can't have it all, hun. You can't be telling me this.
I would be a very different person if I had ever scored a single point in basketball. I was the charity case on the team. It was like, please give Bridger the ball and let him shoot it once.
Yeah, just
it'll be
let
from
him
half
throw
court.
it.
But
yeah.
So by the time I got to high school, I was like, I had kind of decided I wasn't going to do sports anymore. I was okay with that.
Yeah.
And started high school as kind of like an ordinary kid, kind of just a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of floated between cliques, I guess.
Yeah.
It was like, my friends were probably more on like the skater kid side.
Mm-hmm.
Skaters who couldn't skate side.
And those are the best kind.
Right. They've got
They
kind of
want
the culture.
Yeah.
But they don't have the skills. So
Yeah.
we get to just do fun things.
Yeah.
But I mean, this has been kind of just a running theme in my life where I am always in between communities.
Yeah.
Which is a nice place to be, but it's also like, it's a branding issue. Let's
call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most of the people I encounter, especially in entertainment, that are like do more front-facing work are floaters.
Interesting, really.
Yeah, because I think there's like an innate curiosity about a bunch of people. And I think that also there's a feeling of wanting to be like loved by everyone as well.
Of course.
So it's like that sort of, the combo of being like, well, I want the theater kids to like me, but I also want the skater kids to like me, but I also want the jockey kids to like me, but I also want the nerds to like me, but I also want it's like...
And you also have the skill set to make them like you.
Right.
You're an entertainer on some level.
Yeah, a.k.a. like, a narcissist.
Psychopath. Can't be trusted.
Yeah.
Willing to betray anyone at any moment.
Exactly.
That was very much me in high school.
Were you a good student?
I was a really good student, actually. My two older brothers were fine students, and somehow I became a good student.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because I didn't have anything else to offer the world, so I was like, I'll read and be
You might
good
as well
at
be
school.
studious.
Right. So I was a good student, became like, as high school wore on, lazier and lazier. Didn't really have any ambition, didn't have any direction whatsoever, so it was hard to decide what I was going to focus on.
Right.
But I was a good student.
Did you find that depressing when you were in high school?
I find it depressing now.
Mm.
In high school, I kind of felt fine. I was ready for high school to be over probably 2 days into high school.
Oh, same.
Where it was like, people who like this are corny.
Yeah.
But this is also another theme of my life where I just don't enjoy anything while it's happening.
Right. You need to reflect and then be like, oh, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, there were good things about it. But I was like, get me out of here. My friends were, like, my good friends were a couple of years older than me, so they had moved on to college almost immediately upon getting into high school. And I kind of just existed.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. It was just like,
benign.
I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate
it's like,
this.
I hate this, but I have to do this.
Right. And everyone who likes it is a loser.
And I still stand by that.
Oh, of course.
I mean, we do have people that come on the show that were like, I loved high school. And I love them.
Sure.
But I'm like, no, you can't you couldn't have loved high school that much.
Right. I think there's something kind of wrong with you if that was a great time for you.
High school should be torturous. It should be hell. You should be in crises all the time. People should be like being kooky and it's just
making horrible mistakes,
making
being
bad
annoying.
jokes, being annoying.
Right.
So were people no one was drinking. You were not drinking.
I was not drinking.
You were not smoking.
No, it's certainly not smoking.
Soda? You
soda.
can drink.
Yes, Mormons can drink soda. This is a big misconception.
But there's caffeine in soda.
There is caffeine. I mean, again, so when you start to parse what's happening, it's
Right.
like, well, it's all bullshit, and that's
Right.
why it's confusing.
Right.
But they can drink caffeinated soda.
Right.
But they can't drink coffee or tea, which is, it should be the opposite.
Yeah.
There are studies. We know soda's very bad for you.
It should be drink coffee and tea, no soda.
Yeah, drink like the natural product.
Because isn't the concept like your body's a temple
Yes,
vibe? Like,
right,
let's
right.
not mess with like God's creation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
No sex.
No sex. I mean,
Anal.
for me,
Well,
I wish.
Wasn't that always a thing?
This is something that I've heard rumors about where like Mormons will find loopholes to have sex
They're like,
adjacent.
wow, so they just got fucked in the ass. They didn't get
Right.
fucked in the cunt.
Right.
Wow, that was so vulgar. Oh my God. That was
That's how
really,
Mormons
that's
put it.
liberating saying that. When was the last time you said fucked in the cunt?
I have not.
Say that. You'll feel a new level of freedom.
I mean, sex was like a decade away. At least a decade away from me.
Was anyone fucking at your high school? There had to have been.
I mean, I think there were people. I mean, teenagers, like
3,000 people,
right,
statistically speaking.
like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But not that many. I mean, there were like, there was like oral happening, and that was a
Right.
big deal.
Yeah.
But like sex was very rare.
Are there people that you went to high school with that are like fully married and have?
Oh
a
my
bunch of
God,
kids
there are
with each
people who
other?
like at this point have like high schoolers. It's just bizarre to me. It's like they have people who are about to enter college and these people are my age.
So wild.
For me to even have a baby at this point, I'd be like, I feel a little irresponsible.
I know. No, I mean, I'm a very responsible person, and I still, like, when I think about a child, I had this conversation last night with my friend because she's, like, thinking about getting pregnant soon.
Right.
And I was like, or we just never do. I was like, or we just never have kids.
It's
like,
an option.
but I was just kind of like, I don't know, are you ever actually ready for it? No. And are you ever that responsible? I feel like you're kind of just like figuring it out as you go.
Yeah, I think unless you were truly like way too young to be having a baby, I
Yeah.
think you figure it out almost immediately.
Yeah.
And like whatever, people have kids young, that's great. I'm just not capable of it.
No, me either.
And maybe there's something wrong with me.
No,
don't know.
I honestly like, part of me is like, yeah, like having a kid at like 25, and by the time the kid is like out of college, you're still in your 40s?
You could be friends with your child.
Yeah, you guys can fucking go to Vegas.
Which maybe that's good. I don't know.
Maybe it's good.
I mean, Mormons do have a lot of great grandparents, which like I meet people out like in LA, they barely knew their grandparents.
Oh, my great grandparents were dead before I was born.
Right. I knew at least my great grandma.
Yeah.
And that's just because everybody starts having kids in their early 20s.
So, okay, you're a good student. You're in high school. Are you doing theater? What is your
The
self-expression?
theater program was so cool. I mean, it was the cheesiest shit. Like,
I just love envisioning you in high school every day being like, this fucking corny, dumb place.
that was my attitude, unfortunately. But like the theater program really brought out the Mormon in people. Like the real happy-go-lucky, which turned me off.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be part of that, and which was a problem because I wanted to do whatever this is.
Right.
And so I had nowhere to go.
Right.
Truly just, I mean, so I got involved with like student government, which was kind of performative. You got to make videos, and I got to like plan the assemblies and so, like host little game shows or whatever. And so that was my way of not having to deal with the lame theater teacher.
What kind of productions would your school even put on? Because I feel like that's so limiting when everyone's so Mormon.
I mean, I can't say for sure, but like Oklahoma style things, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. That
like the Music Man, maybe?
The Music Man, I mean, that might be too edgy politically.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, it was just very safe stuff that wasn't
Yeah.
interesting to me. It just felt
No.
very dorky.
Were you watching like porn or anything?
No, my God, no. I mean, that was years away because it felt like that was, I mean, you were told that's the worst thing you can do.
So what did you do for fun? Surf the internet.
I surfed the internet, I listened to music,
Yeah.
and just hung out with friends, basically.
Okay, friends are fun.
Went to concerts.
Okay, music.
Yeah, music was the one thing that, like, even if it was, like, kind of bad,
Yeah.
parents were okay with it.
Yeah.
It was like, it's, rock music or whatever.
Yeah, it's music. It's
Right. But you go to movies and watch TV.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing to watch?
In high school, Strangers with Candy.
Oh. Okay, wait. Hold
I
on.
know.
I'm like, how did you find that?
The library. I would go to the library and you would just look for things that seemed interesting, or it would be recommended on the internet. By, like, you would look up what are good comedies or whatever.
I love that.
But I was also a big fan of Letterman.
Yeah.
And you saw a lot, like, Amy Sedaris was on Letterman.
Right.
So, like, there was, like, an entryway for a lot of popular culture that way. Whereas, like, you're discovering interesting things through the one thing that's safe to watch at home with your parents.
That's so... Wait, your parents would watch Strangers with Candy?
No, Letterman.
Oh, I was
my
going to
God.
be like...
That would be an experience.
Yeah, I was going to be like, I don't think Jerry would be good for them. That's so funny.
But yeah, I would just go to the library and check things out and watch them with my sister. Freaks and Geeks, Futurama, Strangers with Candy.
Did you feel... Sorry that I'm like talking so much about religion, but I
No,
am...
it's a thing to talk about.
Did you feel yourself... Because I know that you say that you didn't leave fully. It was a very slow exodus.
Right.
But did you feel in high school, were you like, this maybe isn't for me?
Yeah, I mean, there were elements of that. It was like, but there was never any question of, I mean, it never felt like I was going to leave it.
Right.
Like there were things, I mean, I hated going to church. It's very boring.
Yeah.
Like the general culture of it, I didn't really vibe with me. I thought it was, again, very corny. And it just felt restrictive and not interesting to me. So, and then you do, like, actually, not even as you grow older. Like in elementary school, I was like, that doesn't quite add up.
Right.
Like there were things where I was like, that doesn't make a ton of sense to me. So there were like little things
that you could poke holes into.
Right. But you're just kind of on the good ship Mormon, and it's like you're not getting off unless you get out of the state.
Right.
So it was like I went on a Mormon mission, and that was kind of the real end for me because I basically had a mental breakdown on the Mormon mission.
Where was your mission? Because you go on your mission right after high school?
You go, at the time you would go when you were 19. They've now lowered it to you get out of high school and you're headed off for 2 years. I went when I was 19 to Malaysia.
Wow.
And I, like 4 months in, had a literal mental breakdown, and they sent me home. And like, because it's so like, this is what you do, when you come home early, it feels kind of like you've been released from jail and everyone's like, we still love you.
Yeah.
But you're like,
something
wrong.
Happened. Yeah.
Right. That
something
kind of
happened.
feeling.
We don't want to talk about it.
Right. We don't talk about that one element
Yeah.
of your life, but you belong here.
So I know that we're like fast forwarding after high school, but then after you broke down on your mission, did you end up going to college?
I did. And I was in college for I think twice as long as I was in high school. I'm not kidding. It took me 1,000 years to get out of college.
Where'd you go to college?
The University of Utah.
Got it.
I was just, again, like meandering. I was like, I want to do something that is in comedy or something, but that felt so deeply unrealistic.
Right.
So I was just like kind of slowly taking English courses and film courses, but I was also working a lot to pay for college. So I would like take a half semester. I would take a half load.
What did you do for work?
Oh, I think I had probably like 25 jobs before I was 22
God.
or something.
Did you work in high school?
I worked in high school. I also worked for 2 days in 9th grade in middle school at Schlotsky's Deli. That was a rude awakening for me, and I quit. But then I just worked throughout high school.
What'd you do?
I washed dishes. I waited. I worked in like a place that put together picture frames. What else did I do in high school? Those were, I think, the big jobs. Restaurant work.
Yeah.
Like I was a waiter at a retirement home. Most of the people there thought I was a woman.
What would they say?
They just thought I was a girl because I had long hair and
Long, gorgeous, like red hair.
beautiful curly red hair, and they were just like, "Who's the new girl?" And but like obviously you get to know everybody, and eventually they know you're male.
Yeah.
But those were the big jobs in high school that I can remember: Gecko's Mexican Grill, the Frame Shop, and Legacy Retirement Community.
Which was your favorite?
Probably Legacy Retirement Community.
Yeah.
It was, I mean,
Characters.
bizarre. Yeah, characters everywhere. And time went fast.
Yeah.
You're on your feet.
And you're like interacting with a bunch of people constantly.
Right.
You're not waiting on you're like waiting on the pre-existing customer. You're not
Right.
waiting for them to come to you.
Totally. And you're not washing dishes, and you're
Mhm.
not doing the tedious manual labor of putting
Yeah.
picture frames together.
That's
So-
so funny.
Yeah. But I worked a lot, and so it just took so long to get out of college.
Yeah.
And neither of my brothers had graduated from college, so there was no real pressure on me. There was no real expectation. My mom really hoped I would graduate from college, but if I hadn't, it would have been fine.
Because your brothers, I assume, went on their missions.
Right.
then-
And then just kind of didn't have interest in it.
Did they stay with the church?
One did. The other, I don't know what his exact position with it is at this point, but he's no longer practicing.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard to get out.
Did you have a girlfriend in high school?
No. I had a girlfriend for 2 weeks in 7th grade,
Okay.
Aubrey, and my breakup with her was so apologetic. I wrote her, "I'm so sorry I'm breaking up with you. I felt terrible."
Oh,
But
no.
obviously, we had hugged once.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to take it any further than that.
No.
Wrote her a deeply apologetic letter, and that was the end of I went on dates, went to
Right.
dances with girls, all this, but there was never obviously any interest in going down any road of relationship with
Right.
these girls. So, yeah.
This is fascinating. What did you you didn't have a dress code.
No dress code.
What was your style?
It was kind of, skater adjacent type clothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what, it was 2003. So it was like
Like when you say skater, were you wearing Osiris skate shoes? Were you wearing
I was wearing at the time I actually know the name of them, Reebok Super Courts.
Ooh.
Which were like
What
low
is
rise
I know what those look
Reebok.
like.
They were kind of colorful.
Yeah.
They were a good looking shoe. And then I was wearing vintage shirts that I'd get at the steal from the thrift store.
It's giving very cool. You're very cool person. You're wearing vintage thrifted shit. You're watching Strangers with Candy. You're listening to good music. You have good taste. You know high school's corny. You sound like you really have your head on your shoulders.
I don't know that I did. I think I was very annoying.
Yeah.
I thought I was very funny.
Yeah.
And people were encouraging that behavior.
Why do you think you were so annoying?
Because I thought I was funny. I'm if I met me as a high schooler now, I'd be like, you have to stop it.
Would you
You've got
talk a lot?
I was just very I would do whatever I could to be funny.
Yeah.
Wear stupid clothes, just various idiotic things, which to other high schoolers I guess was funny.
Yeah.
But if I saw me now, I'd be like, can you just take one picture where you look normal? Just please look like a human being.
That's when you hear parents say this to their kids.
Of course.
Or it's please, for the love of God, just stop.
I go through my pictures and I'm like, you look terrible and this is annoying. This isn't what you look like.
Are you still friends with people you went to high school with?
I'm friends with a couple of them.
Yeah.
I keep in touch with a couple, but most of the kids I a huge fan of. I was like, I don't want to ever see you again.
Mm-hmm.
Please exit my life.
Yeah.
I will not be at the reunion. Forget it.
Yeah, fuck off.
Oh, the idea. Even like in 10th grade, I was like, I will not be returning.
I thought to myself, that's embarrassing.
Extremely embarrassing. Why is your life so empty that you have to come back to high school?
I mean, I even think family reunions are embarrassing.
Oh, of course. There's the earnestness on display.
Reunion? No, it's done. And that's that. Oh my God, knock, knock, knock. Is that a door knock I hear? Why, yes, it is. Welcome to the high school guidance counselor's office.
Oh my God.
In this section of the pod, this is your time to sort of mend a trauma of your high school past. You can say fuck you to someone, you can apologize to someone, or you can do both.
Okay.
And then you're kind of healed from this trauma for the rest of your life. Because that's how it works.
I've been looking for this.
Yeah, that's how trauma works. That's how healing works.
Right.
You know, talk about it once and it's done.
I feel like, I mean, all of the obvious things aside, just being a closeted high schooler who never got to experience any level of normal life in high school, let's push that aside.
Yeah.
My big complaint with high school was my guidance counselor. This woman,
Yeah.
her brother was a co-founder of Pixar.
What?
I'm telling this woman every time I meet with her, I want to work in the entertainment industry. All she did was telling me she got the new Mac computer because she was related to this guy. She could have
Give the
internship, anything.
Give me the plug, honey.
Give me some advice.
Give me the fucking email.
Did nothing.
Bitch.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, she could have accelerated my life by 10 years.
Yeah. That whole, 6 years you did in college,
Right.
post, whatever it's called that I'm blanking on,
Post high school?
No, post mission.
Post mission?
You honestly, had she just given you the email, you probably wouldn't have even got on the mission.
I would probably be a stakeholder in Pixar right now.
You'd be so rich.
I wouldn't be doing podcasts.
No. Yeah, this is embarrassing. Last night I had to do a show and the host brought me on stage talking about my podcast, and I was like, I got on stage and I was like, it's so embarrassing that I have a podcast. I'm mortified. You know what I mean? I love it, but I'm mortified.
Of course.
And you know what? I love being a comedian, also deeply embarrassed by it.
It's all so embarrassing.
It's so corny. It's so embarrassing. I'm like, what is so empty inside of me that this is what brings me life?
And in 20 years, you're going to be looking back and say, why didn't you take a normal picture?
Yeah.
Why didn't you not do a podcast?
Yeah. I have an idea. Why didn't you shut the fuck up and keep to yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Live a quiet life.
Live a quiet life.
That's all any of us really want.
Well, fuck that guidance counselor.
She was terrible.
She derailed your life.
I don't even know that she got my life on rails to derail.
Yeah.
She just let me kind of flounder.
Yeah, she was negligent.
Completely. Or maybe just a moron.
She was an idiotic, negligent, let's call her what she is, bitch, who had the ultimate plug and did nothing.
Just got a free Mac computer once a year.
Yeah,
to show off to high schoolers.
And then had the nerve to talk to you about it?
Ridiculous.
Honey.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Grow up.
I have to heal from this. I have to forgive her.
You have to. I'm mad. I'm sitting here
I have
upset.
to transfer my hatred to you.
You know, this is our 70th episode, and this is the only time where I actually don't want to, I don't want you to move on from this.
I'm going to continue just holding this grudge.
You should reach out.
I made it without you.
Yeah.
I didn't need you.
Yeah. Do I still think about your brother-in-law that's a fucking, co-founder of Pixar? Yeah.
Sure.
I do.
Sure.
Every time I watch Finding Nemo, I do.
I think that's an 03 movie, actually.
There you go.
There we go.
That's the fucking nail in the coffin right there. Damn it.
Yeah. Very rough time.
Tevi, do we have a Classmates corner?
Yep. It's kind of a long one, so bear with me.
Okay.
This is from Lucas. He says, hi, Greta and Bridger. First and foremost, thanks for doing the
Well,
Lord.
hold on. He said, hi, Greta and guest.
He knew I was here.
Don't think Lucas knew that you were
Lucas
here.
knew I was here.
Okay,
I let Lucas know. Reach out.
First and foremost, thanks for doing the Lord's work by discussing high school trauma and finding a way for all of us to laugh instead of cry. I absolutely love the pod, so please keep up the great work. Thanks for changing lives one Instagram reel at a time.
Oh, wow. I don't post enough reels, so you're incentivizing me to do so.
There you go.
I guess Tevi posts all the reels, so that's good for this podcast.
I'm coming to the guidance counselor with an apology / fuck you mishmash. For context, I went to high school in Montana, graduated in 2012, and at the time was a very closeted gay boy who was excellent at denying his sexuality, especially to himself. So junior year, I became friends with a guy, we'll call him Will. Will was often teased by others who saw him as histrionic. However, we had
Okay, big word. I don't know. What does that mean?
Dramatic.
Oh.
I had to look it up.
Hysterical.
Oh.
Kind of a hysteric.
H-Y-S.
No, it is, I think, with an I.
It's with
Okay.
an I.
That's kind of the,
And you know what?
over the top.
Histrionic.
You literally can never stop learning.
You can't.
You can't.
Forget it. There's
Even if
something
you
new.
wanted to, you can't.
There's always something new to learn.
Histrionic.
Vocabulary.
Okay.
Histrionic. However, we had similar interests, an overlapping friend group, and got along really well. In retrospect, another factor of our friendship was probably because my closeted self at the time saw another closeted person, and I was searching for some camaraderie. Cut to senior year, where I started engaging in some extracurricular activities. Because of those, I expanded my social circle quite quickly, and Will became possessive and started getting frustrated that I would hang out with other people over him, even though we would still hang out often. It eventually became a real turnoff for me, so I started hanging out with Will less and less, which of course only exacerbated his feelings. This eventually climaxed into Will starting a rumor to try and out me. I wasn't even out myself at the time, nor did I ever talk about gay stuff with him. At the time, we were each dating girls, so my girlfriend came to me with some questions, understandably. In an attempt of self-preservation, I denied everything and never spoke to Will again. Total cold turkey. Fast forward to my freshman year of college, and I got several calls from Will, which I didn't answer. He leaves me a couple voice messages over the course of several months that were non-apologies, like, I guess maybe I could have handled it differently. Sorry if you feel like I hurt your feelings. Eventually, these messages turned into, hey, I'm so sorry for everything I did. It was messed up. I shouldn't have done that. He admitted to being in therapy, and his therapist encouraged him to make amends with people he's hurt. So this is my predicament. On one hand, fuck Will for trying to out me in high school. On the other hand, I do feel guilty for ignoring Will when he was obviously going through his own crisis in college and was trying to rectify his wrongdoings. On the other hand, I was still closeted and repressed as fuck when Will was reaching out to me to apologize, and all I wanted to do was to continue repressing any sort of reminder about my sexuality. Please tell me, dear guidance counselor, should I feel guilty about all of this? Should I try and reach out to Will now, 10 years after he tried to apologize? To be honest, I've really moved on from the whole high school drama, and I almost never think about Will, but maybe he would still appreciate a text or something after all these years. Thanks again for all you do, Lucas.
Wow. I mean, he's thinking about Will. He's writing into a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I do think you are thinking about Will. Yeah, let's just from the top. I do think you are thinking about Will, and that's okay.
Of course, that's fine.
That is fine. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think look, this happened in high school.
Yes.
High schoolers are idiots.
Idiots.
They are some of our dumbest people.
Sacks of skin with no brains.
They have a lot going on. They're figuring a lot of things out.
Yes.
Will he was closeted, was dealing with his own shit.
Yeah.
Of course he was trying to stir up some drama.
Yeah.
He's trying to deflect from him.
Yeah.
First of all...
Oh, wait, do we know Will's gay?
He said he still doesn't know.
Oh, he still doesn't know.
Well, we're going to say Will's gay.
Let's assume.
Yeah.
Anyone with this, rumor spreading and the drama, if this is a straight man, then something's
deeply
very wrong. It was 10 years ago. You have to forgive him.
Yeah.
It seems like he tried to apologize.
Yeah.
I understand at the time maybe not wanting to accept that.
Sometimes what I will say about apologies is they're tricky because I've been on both sides as someone that has apologized and someone that's been apologized to.
Mhm.
The recipient needs to be willing to receive the apology.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it feels like it should be one-sided. It feels like, well, I apologize and you should say it's okay.
Right.
But like it's not. So I think that our dear listener
What was the
wasn't
listener's name?
ready.
Lucas.
Our
Lucas.
dear Lucas wasn't ready to receive the apology
Right.
when Will apologized. And that's okay. Lucas, you should not feel guilty for that.
No.
You're not ready to receive that apology.
It was too fresh.
Yeah.
He was still kind of a teenager.
Yes. I mean, it
What
was
was
like
happening?
months in teen time. It's like,
Right.
in teen time, it's years, but in real time, it's like months later.
Right, and you're a teenager until you're 27.
Yeah.
So I get it. I
Yeah.
get not taking. And now at this point, though, he can't stop thinking. Let's just be honest. He cannot stop thinking about Will.
Yeah.
He may be in love with Will. I don't know.
Lucas is going to get mad listening to this.
Is Will a romantic possibility? I mean, let's think about that first.
Well, I
What
wonder,
a nice way to get into it.
Well, I wonder if, there was a part of Lucas's mind that in that camaraderie, that closeness. Yeah, no, Will was gay. And
Will
now that
was
I'm
gay.
thinking about this, because Will was like upset that you were pulling away,
Right.
reacting very strongly.
I mean, if Will was straight, I think the solution at this point is cancel him.
Yeah. Just cut and dry.
Right.
An easy cancel.
Right. Simple. We know
Yeah.
what the problem is.
And we know how, and honestly, cancellations, we know how to do. We can do them fast.
Oh, right. We are so efficient at this point.
Dox them even,
But I think at this, you're both adults now. Reach out. It might be a fun conversation to have. I mean, if it's still a painful thing, that feels like maybe we need to talk to a therapist about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think personally, I would say if you're really not thinking about it that often and like listening to my podcast is bringing it up for you, don't reach out. Don't reach out. Don't. But if you find yourself like genuinely thinking about it a lot, you could, but be forewarned. If you do reach out to him and you do say, hey, I'm sorry that I wasn't open to your apology at the time, be prepared that he may no longer be willing to receive that from you, and you may never hear from him.
Right. And there's another thing to keep in mind. He might be annoying.
Yeah.
I tried reaching out to somebody from high school a couple of years ago and immediately found out that they had become very annoying. And now
you
they're in my life
regretted it.
again.
Oh, fuck.
You've got to be careful.
You have to be careful.
I mean, that's the worst case scenario.
Sometimes the memory is better than the reality.
Right. Even if it's painful.
Yeah.
But I think, why not reach out? You're going to die.
Yeah, look,
Will's gonna die.
if you're thinking about it, reach out.
Yeah, why not?
If it's aching at you, the worst that happens, the worst that happens is that you reach out and Will reads you to filth and is mean and says mean things to you. The second worst thing that happens, he ignores you and you never hear from him again.
Right. I mean, and now I'm thinking, what if Will's life is better than Lucas's right now?
Impossible.
That would be a rough thing to
Impossible.
experience.
Impossible.
I mean, Will he doesn't have podcast people talking to him, so
No.
Lucas has that on
Lucas has that.
Will. But that's...
And Lucas, not for nothing, has a huge vocabulary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's peacocking.
He's
peacocking that vocabulary.
And I'm responding because
You're
that's
learning.
That's sexy to me. I'm learning. I learn from my listeners. Lucas, keep us posted on what you decide to do.
I can't wait to find out.
I know. I'm edging
I will
to
say
find
one
out.
thing I didn't include, it was a PS, but Lucas said, I need you to know that at least once a week, my boyfriend and I lock eyes to say to each other, big hats, big tits, big dreams, can't lose Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
So he does have a boyfriend.
And he
Okay.
is quoting me.
Interesting.
Wow. You know what? From you're clearly a genius. As I stated, you're clearly a genius. You have impeccable taste. This Will person, fuck him, honey. You're living the dream. You're living your big life. You know, if you want to, here's what I'll say. If you want to reach out to Will, you need to be doing it because it's going to feed something inside of you, okay? Not because you think he needs to hear it.
Think selfishly.
Think selfishly.
You've got a boyfriend. You're on pretty solid ground. You have an email address.
Yeah.
You've got it all.
And you know what I have to say to your high school guidance counselor? You remember how, now this is going to be a real throwback and this isn't going to be as funny as I think it is in my head, but remember how Mac, their whole thing was think different?
Oh, sure.
You know what she was doing? Thinking selfishly. Okay? So that bitch wasn't thinking different. She was thinking selfish. Just
I'm
saying.
glad you brought that back. It's true.
And
it
I'm
needed to
fucking
be
pissed
said.
about her.
We're all mad. The whole community's mad now.
Insane.
I hope her career is destroyed.
A young Mormon boy that she couldn't even help.
She could have thrown me a little
By the
little
grace
life
of
preserver.
God. By the
Couldn't-
grace of, do you guys believe in Christ?
Oh, yes.
By the grace of Christ.
No, not you guys.
Not you.
Don't put me back into it. I've
Do
got
they?
a lot of work to get
Do
out of this thing.
do they believe in Christ? Oh, man. Did you have to wear those like weird underwear?
I did for a short period
Mm,
because you don't wear them until you are like kind of an adult.
yeah.
Uh,
And then the underwear go away.
then you have the underwear on,
Oh,
and then you wear them for the rest of your life.
same pair.
Those things are filthy. I did wear them.
But do you wear underwear underneath?
No, they're basically underwear. It's like an undershirt
They're just like,
and like boxer briefs.
but they're really big, aren't they?
They've kind of come around. I mean, those ones, whoo, you would see kids' parents in those. Like you sleep over and you see kids' parents.
You see their
I mean, the human
balls.
body should not be contained in those
No.
things. I mean, it makes people look disgusting.
Crazy.
But they've kind of come around to like things that look like modern underwear.
Do you have to buy them at the church?
You do buy them there. I mean, I will say this, very cheap.
Oh.
Compared to regular underwear, these things are dirt cheap.
Well, there you
I
go.
don't know where they're sourcing them from.
I
Who's
wonder who's making
the
them.
underwear? That's interesting.
Sounds like we'll speculate on that off air. If you could go back in time and give your high school self any advice, what would it be?
I mean, I think it would be less annoying. Just take one day a week to just be a normal person.
Yeah.
That's not trying to be funny. That just is living a normal life.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like he is an obnoxious person.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just what he had to do.
Maybe. Probably.
Yeah.
I would have done the same as you. If that was my reality.
What else are you gonna? I mean,
I would be annoying and I would watch very niche comedy to sustain me and listen to highbrow indie rock and like highbrow like soft electronic.
you've gotta find something interesting in your life.
A lifeline,
Mm-hmm.
one might say.
Mm-hmm. What a time!
Did you go to prom?
I went to prom. I went to I think every dance.
What did you wear?
What a cover I had. I wore basically tuxedos, suits.
Yeah.
But then, of course, as high school wore on, and I thought I was funnier, I started wearing weird clothes or like stuff
what?
I found at vintage thrift stores. Just like corduroy jackets, this kind of thing.
Yeah, like Professor Core.
Right.
Yeah.
Not great.
I mean, I'm into that. With your long red curly hair,
Well,
being fucking brooding and annoying, telling me like Letterman jokes, watching like Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I'll say I was not that annoying that I was like repeating jokes that I saw on TV.
Okay, well
Thank
then you weren't
God.
annoying.
Right. Maybe I had some level of awareness.
You did.
I was like building towards a semi-normal personality.
Before the Sunday episode with Max Silvestri, we were talking about how like we were in high school at the same time, and it was like movie quote culture
Oh, the highest.
of like boys speaking to each other in like Zoolander tongues.
Not a good
Not
time.
Zoolander, but in like,
Dumb and Dumber,
Dumb and
Austin
Dumber.
Powers.
Right, exactly.
Any of these things.
Oh, behave.
Oh,
Yeah. Come on.
yeah, I fortunately dodged all of that. I have a very clean record.
I had to explain what snarfing was yesterday at this show. You know what's when you have milk and you laugh and it sprays out of your nose?
I didn't realize that was called snarfing.
Maybe it's not. Maybe my sister and I just call it that. But I asked if anyone had ever snarfed cum.
Oh.
And they asked to give me an example. And I said, you're sucking dick. Austin Powers playing in the background. They start to come. You hear that funny joke. You hear fat bastard. You laugh because you can't help it. And then that cum comes flying out of your nose.
I think if you've thought of it, it's happened.
Yeah.
So it's happened to probably 100,000 people.
At least statistically.
Statistically, it has to have happened.
You have such a convincing way of talking
Good.
that you could say statistically 100,000 people have snarfed cum. And I would say, okay, he's a scientist.
Maybe I need to start one of those podcasts where I'm
fake facts.
Misinformation. That's where the money is.
I mean, if you did just have a podcast called Misinformation Wars.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
very
pretty
interesting.
good.
But you put a real target on your back with dangerous people.
I'll start Misinformation Wars with you.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We just spread,
Spread rumors.
a little rumor here and there.
And they're harmless.
Totally harmless.
It'll be like, oh, like cowboy boots make your feet the shape of cowboy boots.
See, that's a wish. I would love for that to happen.
Pointy long toe.
Keep them in there long enough. Those are great cowboy boots.
Thank you. They were my mom's.
Could I wear cowboy boots?
100%. You're from Utah.
What do I need to wear?
It's your
I
right.
feel like it would feel like a real affect.
No, you can pop a boot on. Whose bed have your boots been under? Shania Twain, anyone?
We love Shania Twain.
Love.
Love Shania.
Bridger, did you have a senior superlative?
I think I did, and I don't even know that I want to say it aloud. It's so lame.
I need to know. You can't. We've come so far.
I mean, it almost feels shameful that this was given to me.
But here's the thing. Your whole high school experience, from your words, not mine, corny.
Oof.
So this is the corn on top.
It makes my skin crawl to even say this, but it was most likely to be on Saturday Night Live.
And you know what?
Awful.
Amen.
It's just a thing that's just like, what are we talking about?
I know.
It feels so like 80s high school to have that sort of superlative.
Yeah.
But that was it, unfortunately.
Well, you're a funny person.
I don't know.
But I love it.
We love it. We do it.
We like it. We love it. We want some more of it.
Is that a song?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I like it.
Oh,
I love
no,
it. I want some
is that
more
Toby
of
Keith?
it. Is it a country song or is it like a jingle?
That's somebody like Toby Keith,
Yeah.
Alan Jackson,
Kenny Chesney.
Who are we missing here?
Tim McGraw.
Is
That's
Tim
who we're
McGraw
missing.
part of a country power couple?
Yes, Faith Hill.
Faith Hill.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
I feel like I was just talking about them. Why would I be talking about those people?
They were the stars of like 1885 or whatever that show
One of
is
those
called. Yeah.
Yellowstone movies?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
Yep. Popping off.
Wow. Working together, living together.
Slaying together.
Slaying together.
Yeah, exactly.
The couple that slays together.
Stays together. Oh my God. Okay. That is a like vampire slayer movie about like
Oh my
a couple
God.
that are slayers, and then the tagline is the couple that slays together stays together.
Oh, that has to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. That's gonna be a
Okay.
terrible
No
movie.
one take that idea,
Please.
fuckers.
You can always use this audio in court. That's what I say.
That's true.
Sue, sue, sue.
Maybe I should just record myself all the time and sue everyone.
I said that to myself.
People say, Greta, how did you make so much money? And I say, well, I sued everyone to get here. That's what happens when you record.
No shame.
No shame.
No shame.
Bridger, where can well, hold on. First, let's just clock.
You know, what are we?
This is done in gorgeously an hour.
Wow, an hour. So we've got at least 45 minutes to go. Greta, what year did you graduate high school? What was your favorite song in high school?
Oh, I have so many, and I bounce around all the time. Today, just because of the mood that I'm in. And because I heard it this morning, I'm going to say I loved this. It's not my favorite song, but, this Strokes and Regina Spektor.
Old-fashioned
Yeah.
men. What is it called?
We
Modern.
were young.
That's 2004?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm good. That song's fantastic.
Yeah. You were right.
I love a duet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need more duets.
It's really good.
That's a great song.
Listen to it on the way home.
Wow, I feel so close to you right now.
I feel so close to you.
I'm kind of a
right
Julian
now.
Casablancas.
And
You're
I'm a Regina Spektor.
Modern
love
girls
that.
and old-fashioned men. I think that's the title
Yeah.
of it.
It's good.
Wow.
Bridger, where can my listeners listen to you?
I
Because
have
you're
a
kind of
podcast.
like the king with audio
I'm the
form.
king. I'm kind of a Howard Stern type.
Mhm.
I have a podcast called I Said No Gifts. Once a week, someone brings me a gift that I didn't ask for.
Love that.
My home is overflowing with objects from comedians that I don't want.
Well-
I mean, I'm being sincere. I don't want these things. My house is. Where do you put this trash?
You should have a yard sale.
I'm thinking about having some sort of charity yard sale at
You
some point,
should.
or giveaway or something, because most of these are useless objects.
Yeah.
But that's what we do. If
It's
the
fun.
podcast happens, they come, they give me a gift, and we chat.
Love that.
Aimless, stupid, a nice time.
I love it.
I don't know.
Fabulous. Well,
That's
look-
basically it, I suppose.
I think that's more than enough. Some might say too
Wow,
much.
now we're getting into some
I
insulting
would honestly,
territory.
it would be so refreshing if someone came on this podcast and was like, I have nothing to plug, I just wanted to talk.
Oh, isn't that a nice? I
Nice
wish I
idea.
had nothing in my. Well, actually, knock on wood or whatever you
Yeah,
do.
thank
I
God
need
we have
something
the
in my life.
things.
I need something to hold on to.
know.
Some anchor in the storm or whatever you say.
Truly.
Podcasts, they'll always be there.
Podcasts, the lifesaver
The
in
lifesaver.
on the sinking ship
Of entertainment.
of entertainment. Thank you all so much for listening to my perfect podcast that's both emotional, educational, and entertaining. The triple E's. If you want to talk to me, email us at seniorsuperlativespod@gmail.com with the subject line Classmates Corner and tell me what's going on. Tell me the shit you want to get off your chest. We won't come to a solution, but we will talk about it. And with that, I say, stay cool, never change. Until next time, ta-ta.
That was a Headgum podcast.